Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I am your guest host, Heather Doran, and I'm going to be talking to you today about confidence. So, confidence is one of those things that I call an illusion. We have this illusion that if we have the confidence, we can go out and do whatever it is. So, for example, if I have the confidence, then I can go out and I can talk to people about my business. I can sell with confidence. If I have the confidence, then I can just sell to anyone. Or if it's in your life, it could be to apply for a certain job. Well, if I had the confidence, I could go apply for this job, or I could go talk to anyone, or I could do whatever it is. And so I believe that confidence is one of these things that we have this notion that it's like an illusion. That's how I can explain it. It's like an illusion that if we have the confidence, we can go out and do all these things. And so I am here to talk to you today about the fact that confidence is not something that you just have. Confidence actually comes through taking action. So when I was thinking about this topic, I was thinking about a baby. And when a baby starts to learn how to walk, a baby doesn't just have confidence in walking. I remember when my son started walking, my grandma still has the picture in her house. And this was back, when it was like still photography. And my son stood up and he took a step. And I was like, oh my God, he's starting to walk. And my grandma snapped a picture. And I still just remember that happening. I just remember that memory. And the thing is that he didn't just stand up and have this confidence that, oh, I can walk or I can start to crawl or whatever it is. You can see the hesitation of okay, I'm gonna take the step, and they kind of wobble a little bit, and then sometimes they fall down, and then they're like, okay, I'm gonna try it again. And so this confidence in taking the first step or stepping out there, putting the foot out there, and the other leg is kind of wobbly, and it doesn't happen that they just have this confidence. They just have this knowledge to just put the foot out there and just do it. Walking, crawling, anything we do in life, you have to gain the confidence to do it. And in order to gain the confidence, you have to do the action. You have to try the action. You have to gain muscles, strengthen those muscles to get out there and do the thing. So a lot of times, we are living in anxiety. We're living in fear. We're living under all of these notions of things that if I had the confidence, I can go out and do these things. I can stop having anxiety over talking to people. I can stop having anxiety going to the grocery store. I can stop having anxiety to go talk to my coworkers or, apply for that job or whatever it is. And so I am here to help you understand that you're only gonna leave that anxiety behind and start to get past that anxiety and start to gain confidence by doing the action, by strengthening your muscles that come along with having less anxiety, with having less panic, with having more confidence. And so I say this from a place of I struggle with anxiety and panic attacks myself. And it's been a couple of years now. I mean, it's been a while that I've had just sheer panic attacks. But it's funny, like I'm working on my health right now, and my health coach, we were talking about going grocery shopping, and I said, yeah, I have a lot of anxiety going to the grocery store, so my husband will go with me. And I didn't realize that I said that. And she says, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Like, tell me about, this anxiety of the grocery store. And I was like, well, it's just the people, and like, there's like a lot of stuff to buy, and there's a lot of choices. And, it's just, for me, it's an overwhelming experience. I have a deeper level of being an empath, so I feel a lot of the energy. Being in public sometimes is hard for me, and going into the grocery store itself can be really hard for me. And so I will get all the way like to the parking lot, and I'm like, no, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. I'll do it next week. And, then so many days happen, and we don't have like the appropriate amount of food in our house. And, that I experienced that multiple times while my son was in the home as a teenager and my husband was overseas. Because I couldn't, for whatever reason, just bring myself to go to the grocery store. I mean, they didn't have like cart pickup and stuff. And it was this really overwhelming experience for me. And it's come from a place of taking steps to help strengthen my muscles when it comes to going out in public, to gain the confidence that I can go make choices in the store. Like so I would go and I would buy like a lot of things that were like frozen dinners, and I'd end up overspending on stuff. And there's that anxiety. I don't know exactly where it comes from. I could probably do a whole podcast on that, but my point is that we have to take the steps. So in this case, I have to go and create a list, go in my cupboard, see what needs to be done, taking these steps to get me to a place where I feel comfortable and I can be confident when I go into the store. Okay, I have a list, I have a plan, I have things laid out. And so it creates this level of feeling better, where I'm not just going into a situation where I'm just going cold turkey, like, okay, I'm just going to go do it. Sometimes, yes, that is the case. Like, you just have to go do it. But a lot of times when we're not confident and we have anxiety and we don't feel like we can do the things that we should be doing, or we feel like it should be this way, or I should be going here, I should be doing that, when we don't have that, we have to create these barriers, and we have to create these situations where it's very defined in what we're doing. So, with the grocery store, it's like, okay, we look around and what do we need, and make a list, and, pick a time, and, make sure you've eaten before you go, and all of that stuff. So that's one example of this. Another one has to do with business. So if you own a business and you're struggling with talking to people, you're struggling with talking to people about sales, or telling them, hey, I offer this thing. It's not going to just come naturally to you. You're not just going to naturally know how to interact in all of these situations until you actually start doing it. So until you actually start talking to people and saying, hey, I'm offering this session, I'm offering, this yoga session, or I'm doing, card readings, or whatever it is, like, you aren't going to just automatically get the confidence. It's not going to just magically come to you. Unfortunately, it's not how it works, because there is a lesson that you have to learn how to develop your confidence. And so it's just like when babies are learning how to crawl or learning how to walk, they have to figure out, okay, how is my muscle going to activate when I move my foot this direction? How is my, leg gonna wobble? How do I have to stand? How do I have to position my toes? All that stuff is happening subconsciously, but they have to actually do the action to figure it out, to make the leg do what it needs to do, to make the walk and to make the step. So what I'm proposing to you today is, in your business, if you have this thing that you offer and you are struggling to tell people about it, what you want to do is start with a plan. Start with okay, I am going to offer, one session at da price, or 1 month session, or 6 weeks, or whatever it is your package is. And develop some kind of plan. Okay, well, I'm going to post it on my Facebook page. I'm going to tell people hey, I'm offering this thing. I'm going to reach out to, 5 people and say, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm offering this thing. Maybe you just check in with people, not even selling them anything or not even in the intention of selling them anything, but just to check in with people and talk to them, because your sales are going to come and your confidence is going to come in your sales when you actually start talking to people, just in general conversations. So if you are struggling to sell stuff, but you're also struggling to just have general conversations with people, then that is the place that you want to start. So gain your confidence in just talking to people. Gain your confidence in that first, and then, start to say, hey, by the way, I'm offering this thing. Just wanted to let you know. Then you can continue the sales conversation. Then people are like, hey, I really want this thing, or hey, I know a person, or whatever it is. And then you can continue the conversation from there. But it doesn't come from this place of natural. And it's funny, we always say, oh, that salesperson, or this person, or that person, or, you look at big names like Jenna Kutcher and James Wedmore and all these big names, and you're like, oh, look, they're so good at that. They didn't start out there. They didn't start out at being so good at what they did. They gained their confidence in what they did by taking little tiny baby steps towards it every day, every week, every month. And that is how they got to the place of where they're at today. That didn't just happen. It had to be developed. And so what I'm saying to you today is, if you are struggling in an area of your life and you think, well, if I just had the confidence, I could do this or I could do that. What I'm saying to you is you have to develop those muscles to gain the confidence in your life, to gain the confidence in yourself. It's going to come through a series of just trial and error. Because when a baby starts walking, they fall down on their butt a lot. And guess what? They get back up because they're like, hey, I can do this. They don't have all these stories in their head about oh, but I fell last time and oh, this and that. They're just like, oh, well, I fell last time, so I need to make sure that, I position my leg this way, or, I tighten down on my toe, or, whatever it is that they do to figure out how to walk. Subconsciously, all those things are happening. They're not thinking about, well, so-and-so said this to me, or, my parents laughed at me, or whatever it is. They just get up and do it. And so what my message to you today is you just got to get up and do it. You just got to get up and start trying stuff. My husband is in a situation where he's going to be leaving the Army soon, and we've had several conversations about well, what do you want to, he's not sure what he wants to do, what his next step is. And I told him, I'm like, you have to try stuff. You have to literally go out there and try stuff. You have to go talk to people. You have to go do things that are going to be where you're trying it, because you don't know you're going to like it unless you go out and try it. And it's the same thing with confidence. You don't know the process that's going to work for you to gain confidence around whatever it is until you try it. It might not be the right process. It might not be the right thing to say. It might not be the thing to do. It might not be something you even like. And that's okay. But that's the beauty in developing the muscle, to developing the thing around gaining your confidence, is just figuring out what the heck it is that you want to do and what it is that you like and who you want to talk to and the people you want to be around. This is all the experience. But if you are stuck in the place of, well, when I get the confidence, I'll do this thing. If you're stuck in that place, you're going to stay stuck there. And then looking around and saying, I don't understand why I'm stuck. Well, that's why you're stuck, because you're not taking the action. And so it starts with taking the action. And it doesn't have to be anything big and crazy. It can be very small things here, there, and, just trying little things. So that is my message for you today. I hope this was helpful. I know it wasn't like a super long one. I know Melissa does longer ones. But I'm kind of getting my confidence up and kind of like what to say, just kind of, hitting the record button and like, okay, we're doing this. Because I don't always know how to start out or what to say necessarily, like, especially in the beginning, it's like you have an overall message and you're like, okay, how do I get it out? And that type of thing. So I hope this was helpful. If you do like the podcast, please subscribe so that you get notifications every day that we're going on. Again, I am guest hosting for Melissa this week. I am a business finance coach and consultant. I did not say that in the beginning. I do apologize. We also have our Facebook group that we have kept open from our free training. And that has just really become a very safe community to talk about these things, that we are struggling with in life. We're struggling, to develop self-care process. We're struggling to, develop this confidence. Like, what is the process? We would love to hear from you in the Facebook group and just talk to us about this. Like, if you are struggling with confidence, come to our Facebook group and say, listen, I'm struggling to gain confidence in XYZ. What is the process to start down the path of gaining this confidence towards, talking to people or, going out into public or whatever it is that you're struggling with, or even talking to your boss about like, hey, I want to do this project so that I can, get a raise or whatever it is. If you're struggling in an area, come into the Facebook group and talk to us about this. There is so many loving people that have come into the community. My heart is just so full. I really am so excited that we have developed that community, and it's just a place for you to feel safe, to talk about these things that you are struggling with on your path to spirituality, on your path to growing a deeper understanding of yourself and the world and just how to be happy. So the group is called Manifest Your Best Life. I will put it in the show notes, and we really hope that you would just join us and just help experience this life with us, because we're all going through something, and someone needs to hear from you. Sometimes, like, if you just go and say like, hey, I'm struggling with this, or XYZ is happening to me right now. A lot of times just people knowing that it's like, hey, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one on the island with this thing. Sometimes just saying that can help another person understand that they're not the only one either. And then you can develop a connection and, help each other and support each other, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to just love and support each other. And so that's what Melissa and I have done in this community. And so we really hope that you would join us and just talk with us and talk with the people that in the community, because you all have something to give. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you all have a great day. I will be back on Friday with another episode. And also I wanted to remind you that I will be going live in the Facebook group on Fridays at 12 noon with doing a card reading. So I'm going to do a card reading for the group, and then I'm going to be doing individual card readings. So if you would like to join me, I'm doing that at noon. If you cannot join, there will be the replay. So I do encourage you to still watch and get the message from the group. And so that's every Friday at noon in the group. And so I'll post the link in the show notes. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you again on Friday.